this section of the video, we're going to talk about wheelies. Wheelies are important for a variety of reasons, and you'll find a number of great applications for them throughout your daily routine. A few words of caution first. One is always start out with a spotter. And two, if you do fall over, which you will do eventually, everybody does, making a mistake. When you do fall over, tuck your chin into your chest so that you won't hit the back of your head on whatever surface it is that you're wheeling on. If you're a teacher of wheelies, one very important thing to remember is never let your patients back up and pull their wheelies. It seems like a very easy thing to do is to back up and stop the chair and pull a wheelie. But if you let them learn this way, they'll have a very bad habit of, when they come to jumping over a curb on the run, of pulling backwards. And of course you can't do that, as you'll see in this video coming up. So never let the patient back up. Doing wheelies is just a very simple matter of transferring weight behind the axle to change the balancing point of the chair and pushing the chair out from underneath you. So it's just that simple. And let's go out and take a look at it in the real world. One thing I want you to keep in mind when using your wheelchair is the weight distribution. When it comes time for wheelies or wheeling straight on uneven surfaces, or even just letting the weight of the wheelchair carry your weight after every push, keep in mind where your body is. On this wheelchair right now, my front end has about 25 pounds of pressure on the front wheels. And that's just a rough measurement. But if I take my head and move it behind the axle, and let's just say my head weighs 10 pounds, I'm taking 10 pounds from here of that 25 pounds of weight and moving it behind the axle. But now that 10 pounds is really lifting up 10 pounds of weight on the front end. So really now my front end only weighs 5 pounds. So you can see it becomes very easy to change the whole dynamic of this wheelchair from stable to a very light front end. So I want you to keep in mind the factor of working. 10 pounds up here is equal to 20 pounds of lift. You're taking the 10 off, and that 10 is now lifting the front end up. So it makes it very easy to distribute your weight. And most of this game is a game of weight distribution. Jumping up and down curbs is just shifting your weight back and putting it forward. Getting large movements for larger curbs and smaller movements for smaller curbs. When you're teaching wheelies, if you have a patient or if you're a student of wheelies and you're learning this stuff, if you get into this herky-jerky type of motion, generally it's because you're taking your hands off of the chair, and as soon as you do that, you lose control. So what you need to learn is just sliding your hands on the hand rims, and when you do that, you can be in control of the chair all of the time. You're never out of control. Another important thing, if you do fall over backwards, please tuck your chin into your chest. We don't want you to hit your back of your head on the floor or whatever you're practicing on. And if you do start falling backwards, to save yourself, pull backwards. That will bring the chair down. It sounds wrong, but pulling backwards is the right way to save yourself. And this will be very helpful when you're wheeling down ramps or over rough terrain, which you'll see in the future. Obviously, if you're just learning to do wheelies, you want to have a spotter behind you. Safety first, or as I say, when in doubt, chicken out. So with the spotter behind you, you'll have somebody that can catch you if you fall over, okay? A very nice thing to have. And if you're a teacher of this and you're going to be doing this for half an hour or so, did you grab that bench, Meg? One way to spot is to have a bench with little wheels behind you so that you can practice wheeling and stay right behind. A lot of today's chairs don't have the canes on the back. They simply have a metal bar across down here. So you'll end up with a sore back if you're a therapist trying to spot somebody for a half an hour. So this is a real back saver, little trick that you can throw in your toolbox for the future. And the next thing you want to teach after you teach the wheelies is wheeling along and jumping over cracks in the sidewalk just to get the timing down of when to pull a wheelie. And generally what I teach is when you can see the crack between your toes, then reach way back, I call this a giant stride, putting all the weight behind the axle and then lifting the wheels up and going over the curb. So it should look, your weight is back and you're picking the chair up and going over the curb. So you can be moving along, boom, boom. Okay, once you teach that many times, then they'll get their timing down, and the next thing they can go on to is jumping over a curb.